Good morning, everyone, and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Lyndall Stout. Even though we've seen some rain recently, dry and windy conditions are always a concern in Oklahoma. Coming up, some common sense tips on protecting yourself and your biggest investments. But first, the ins and outs of hay for horses. Here's SUNUP's Austin Moore.
Well, it's getting that time of year to start thinking about hay, and in particular for our horses, we want to know what is the best kind of hay to have. So joining us is our state horse specialist, Dave Freeman. Dave, let's talk about some of the options. You've got a few bales here for us to look at, some alfalfa, some Bermuda, and some
not so good.
Yeah, leave it alone. Talk to us about the difference here between these types of hay.
Well, and horse people in general have two choices to decide. They either want to go the alfalfa route or a grass hay route. And so alfalfa is pretty easy to talk about.
Okay.
Number one, alfalfa is going to vary quite a bit due to its stage of maturity when it's harvested.
Right.
But in general, it's going to be 20–30% higher in its energy value and even higher in its protein value as compared to the grass hays.
Okay.
So that's the first choice. Do we feed alfalfa? Do we feed grass hays? Do we feed a mix?
So better quality here, but is it value?
That's right. My concern with it is not to tell someone you should feed alfalfa or you should feed grass or whatever, because actually there's lots of reasons to use each due to the management situation. But are you getting the best value for your dollar?
Okay.
That's the question. We know protein.
Right.
And anytime you do a protein test or you talk to anyone on the phone, you ask what the protein value is. But that's just a small part of this. We have energy values, and that's really why we feed these forages, to get energy inside of our horses.
Okay. Let's talk here. We've got our different energy options. We also need to talk about the quality of what we're putting in the animal in terms of, is it worthwhile? Let's look at this bale over here. What's the downside to getting into this bale?
Well, you know, we learn by bad examples.
Right.
And so it's always nice to have this. I don't know of a horse owner that would prefer or even attempt to feed this type of hay to their horses. Even if we don't know energy values, protein values,
Right.
etc., we look at this and it's not visibly acceptable.
Right.
Why isn't it? We have a potential for mold.
I'd say a likelihood of mold.
Well, obviously, and we also have a large amount of large stem size plants. These stems will have a high ADF value, which that's a hay testing value that you'll hear about. For our use is indigestible fiber.
Okay.
So why feed it? It makes at best a nice place for them to lie down if they'll eat it at all.
So it's
and they
bedding
usually
hay.
won't eat it. Yeah. This would test out at about 4 or 5% crude protein.
Okay.
And about a third of what the energy value would be on something that was acceptable. And then what's inside here, because it's primarily this high stem, large stem content, it's indigestible.
Okay.
So bedding at best.
Bedding at best, and also weight here. I mean, this is a much lighter bale, I've noticed, than these others.
Well,
you're just not getting as much for your bang. Or for your
That's
dollar.
right. You know, as horse owners, a lot of us have only a few horses, and we haven't bought our hay in the summer when the fact sheets and such tell us to. This time of year, now we're scrambling, we're going to buy 10, 15, 20 bales. And one of the easiest things to do when you show up, we purchase it by bale cost. This hay would weigh 25, 30 pounds. And even if it was this hay, you could afford to feed and pay more for this because this hay will weigh 40 pounds. So it's something as simple as, if you're not good at it, take a bathroom scales out there and actually see how much you're paying per bale.
Measure. Okay. Now, is it worth opening up a bale before you buy these? You really open it up and seeing what's inside?
You know, 15, 20 bales, you might as well.
Okay.
Because we want a consistency in the bales of hay, so we get an idea that the horse is going to receive the same value of nutrition day to day,
Right.
so we can supplement it consistently.
Okay.
And then also, alfalfa is a good example. When we're feeding this to horses, it could be first cutting
Right.
a lot of times to try and stay away from the cantharid and the blister beetle problem.
Right.
It could be very wet, and when it's wet, and we harvest this hay, sometimes you may not see evidence of mold inside there.
Yeah, wind could have dried out the outside,
Oh, absolutely.
but the inside stayed wet.
You know, we come inside here and it's not a big deal, but go ahead and buy the bale of hay before you open it up. And more importantly, you get a really good idea of leaf content or stem size if we're opening this up on the inside.
Right.
And that gives us a good indication of the digestibility of it. When we have a large amount of leaf or we have a real fine stem size on grass hays, and so the digestibility of it is so much greater, you can afford to pay more for it.
All right. Now, for producers who want to learn a little bit more about this subject, you do have a fact sheet available?
There's a lot of fact sheets available because our rations are forage based.
Okay.
So forages for horses is one I can think of, and go from there.
All right. If you'd like to take a look at those, please visit our website, sunup.okstate.edu, and click on Show Links.